Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Conlin, and welcome to Pop Crime TV's The Outlier podcast. You will notice I am here on video with a green screen, images. I mean, what is going on? No, I've been told that I need to get out of my comfort zone and start to do these podcasts on video. And I think I've been holding off on this for so long because I'm just going to say it. I can talk like an idiot sometimes. I say like a lot. I say, and while I'm getting better, it's just comforting to me to be able to write a script, edit and hide behind a microphone and not worry about all of the stupid stuff that I say. But here we are. I'm doing better. I really am. And I attribute that to Nancy Grace and her amazing team. I can't tell you how many times I got a text from one of the producers saying, "So can you not start a sentence with, okay, so," and it's true. I can't help it. I realize that I do that a lot. But anyway, I am getting better. But today we have an interesting show because we are going to talk about two very shocking and tragic celebrity deaths. And then I'm going to play an interview I just did with actor Eric McCormack. He's actually a Canadian actor. Not sure if anyone knew that, but he's promoting a new show that comes out this Sunday on MGM. And many of you, like me, most likely know Eric McCormack for his role as Will Truman in Will and Grace. He is amazing. And our conversation, it's about the show, but it kind of goes in a different direction, which I found to be interesting. So I hope you do as well. Eric is a very private guy. And he wants everyone to respect that. And I can tell it's hard on him being in the public eye. But anyway, we'll get to that. So let's start with an absolute legend who was announced. It was announced his death today, February 27th. And this is Gene Hackman. Oscar winner Gene Hackman, 95 years old, and his wife, his adorable, beautiful wife, Betsy Arakawa, who was 63 years old, I believe. They were found dead, as well as their dog, in their New Mexico home. And authorities are saying that their bodies were probably there for about a day or so. And they also said that no foul play is suspected, but the exact cause of death remains under investigation. Two people died plus the dog. All right. No foul play. So my head this morning immediately went to a gas leak, carbon monoxide poisoning. And actually, TMZ just reported that Gene Hackman's daughter, Elizabeth, said that the family is unsure what happened, but they suspect that it was toxic fumes or a gas leak like carbon monoxide. So that seems to be what people are speculating. And I feel like law enforcement starts out by saying no foul play is suspected because they don't want conspiracy theorists like me sometimes to jump to the whole murder suicide conclusion. I don't think anybody thought that about sweet Gene and his adorable wife. I mean, like I said, he was 95 years old. He was beloved. You know him from Superman, The French Connection, Unforgiven, and his wife, she was a classically trained pianist. So rest in peace, Betsy and Gene. You are going to be sorely missed. And yeah, gosh, the Oscars are this weekend. So I'm sure they're going to do a beautiful tribute to Gene. And then you see another picture in the corner, Michelle Trachtenberg. This rocked me. I was a Nickelodeon kid. I mean, look, I still am. And I was surprised by her death only because I mean, I follow her on Instagram and I hadn't seen a lot of the past photos of her looking a bit gaunt and a bit frail. I really hadn't. But if I had seen those in my algorithm, maybe I wouldn't be so shocked. Because look, I want to say this respectfully, but Michelle did not look well. And I was a huge fan of hers. I really was, between Buffy, Gossip Girl, and obviously her days on Pete and Pete and Harriet the Spy on Nickelodeon. But February 26th, which was yesterday, 2025, Michelle Trachtenberg was found deceased in her New York City home. And I believe it was her mother who found her and called 911. Reports have indicated that she went into cardiac arrest and sources are saying that she had been struggling both physically and emotionally for quite some time. She also underwent a liver transplant as well. And look, I mean, it doesn't always have to be the fact that your liver is failing due to drugs and alcohol and you need a new one, but that is generally what happens. But yeah, it could be cancer, it could be genetic. I don't know the real reason why she got a liver transplant, except that I can speculate. So, according to Michelle's friend, there was an article in the New York Post. According to her friend, who was a photographer, Michelle knew and acknowledged that death was a real possibility for her. I guess she had opened up to her friend about how much she had been struggling over the last 6 months. And I think that after she got this liver transplant, her health really had started to decline. And I think it was Colin Rugg that pointed this out on X, that she actually clapped back at some trolls who had made some comments about her appearance and how gaunt she looked. And yeah, she said something like, and I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, "What about me looks sick?" And it was sad because her hair texture had changed, which kind of looked, I'm not a doctor, but it did kind of look like maybe possibly she had some kind of organ failure happening, or something internally that just wasn't right. So that really just, gosh, that destroyed me. Rosie O'Donnell spoke out. I'm not sure how well Rosie O'Donnell knew her past the movie they did decades ago, but she acted like she did, and she also echoed that Michelle Trachtenberg was struggling. So yeah, incredibly sad. And it's like, oh, another child star gone too soon. It, it makes me nervous. My daughter, she takes a film class and she loves it. And she was invited to do this agent workshop and she's begging me to do it. And I've warned her, I've said, I'm fine with you doing this, but, and for those of you who don't know my history, I was an actor as a child. And it was unpleasant at times, very, very unpleasant. I would go as far to say as it really messed with my head as a kid and my confidence. I think I was maybe 11 years old when I was doing this agent workshop, let's call it, and the agent spoke about my weight as a 10 or 11-year-old. And he's like, "Yeah, you're really good, but you're a little chubby." I wasn't even that chubby. I mean, I guess camera adds 10 pounds. But yeah, so anyway, my daughter wants to do this class, and I'm just warning her, like, you can do it, but it's for fun. I mean, I feel like when kids start this at a young age, and my daughter's almost 9, they get it in their head that they're going to be famous, and if they're not, I mean, it really wears on their self-esteem. So yeah, is it worth it being a child actor? I don't know. And I've interviewed quite a few child actors, so I should go back and make a playlist on that. But anyway, gosh, my heart goes out to both Michelle Trachtenberg's family and Gene Hackman's family. I mean, I feel so bad for them. And actually, Michelle Trachtenberg got Blake Lively to break her silence because she made a post on Instagram, a tribute to Michelle Trachtenberg. So there you go. But let's switch gears. So I interviewed Eric McCormack the other day, and I was talking to him. He's promoting this chilling new thriller. It's a show, a 6-part series, and it premieres this Sunday on MGM or Amazon Prime. And it's called 9 Bodies and a Mexican Morgue. And it's like this mystery that leaves you on the edge of your seat. And it starts off with a plane crash. So I'm like, really? I mean, honestly, after 2025, I feel like I'm seeing plane crashes in the news 24/7. And so I'm like, really, Eric? You got to start with an aviation crash. But he gets into why it's not necessarily about just a plane crash. And by the way, speaking of plane crashes, I did Google some things and just research a little bit. And although it seems like we've had tons of crashes in 2025, the stats show that between January 1st, 2024, and I think it was like February 19th, 2024, there were more aviation crashes than that time frame in 2025. However, in 2025, there were more fatalities. And that was because of the American Airlines Sikorsky crash, which was, a commercial flight. So it is interesting. A lot of things are heightened. I mean, you could say the media is trying to create a narrative around some of the firings because the media doesn't love Donald Trump, and there were a lot of firings, but yeah, who knows? Anyway, Eric, I mentioned he really likes his privacy. I'm going to just tell you guys one quote before I play the interview, and then I will close this out. But one quote that he said that I found to be really interesting, and why I think he is so private and he doesn't love the direction in which Hollywood is going in casting based on your followers and kind of your reputation, I guess, on social media. He said, quote, I just lost it. Sorry. Here we go. Yeah, me doing a video. No, I lost it. He said, quote, everyone's constantly taking pictures of themselves all the time because you have to. Because studio executives want you to have lots of followers. So we've sort of become our own worst enemy, I think, in that department. And one of the guys I was talking to this morning on the radio said, Eric, I realize I don't know that much about you. And I said, that's great. I like that. You don't have to know that much about me. That's not my job. My job is the character I play. Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair. But I'll stop talking about the interview and I'll play it. If any of you watched the Karen Reed hearing the other day, Judge Cannoni kept telling the lawyer, one of her defense attorneys, Robert Alessi, who would say, oh, this is what I'm going to say. I'm about to go through this. And she'd be like, can you just say it and stop telling us what you're going to do? Yeah, I guess I have a bad habit of that too. But anyway, without further ado, here's my interview.
Hi, Lauren. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful day here in New York City. It's a little alarming, 55 degrees.
I'm sort of down in Soho, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm going, "This looks amazing." And now I'm just realizing what people aren't wearing,
Yeah.
which is great. So yeah, it's got to be beautiful out there.
Yep, I'm the same. After I dropped my kids off at school this morning, I'm like, should I walk home? I mean, I'm literally going to different ends of the city, but I chose not to. But anyway, I have to say, I don't know what is going on 2025, but aviation crashes. Now we've got 9 bodies in a Mexican morgue, which is coming out this Sunday night. This show starts with an
Yes.
aviation crash. What is going on, Eric? Tell me about it.
I don't know. Well, they've been around a long time, but lately it's a strange time to be promoting a show that starts with a plane crash. But
Yeah.
I can say that it's shot beautifully, and that everyone survives it initially. It's just then it becomes a murder mystery, and it's not the plane that's doing it.
Okay. I feel a little better about that. It feels like the show plays a lot with flashbacks and some psychological tension between cast members.
Well, it's this story could be an entirely different one if 10 people crashed in a jungle and all were really helpful and forthcoming. But this particular group of characters they're all a little mysterious. They're all a little enigmatic. They don't want to share. They've all seem to have secrets. And it'll turn out that possibly one of them is a killer. And so it's very hard to tell who, which of course is the fun of the show.
Yes.
I think it's a really great mix of genres. It is that sort of survival in the jungle story. And how do you do that? How do you find water? How do you hunt for your own food? And who's hunting them?
Yeah, that does sound good. So, yeah, that's a chilling concept. 10 plane crash survivors, but they start dying one by one. And that's a great point. I'm actually watching this show on Netflix. I don't know how it came into my rotation, but it's people in Australia doing this survival thing, and it looks really difficult. I kind of feel uncomfortable watching it because it looks so hard. But did you have to sort of get yourself in character, and did you do anything to try to get into that survival mode?
It was a strange mix because we shot on the island of Gran Canaria, which is amazing. We're just off the coast of Africa, so you'd think that it would have that feel. It's in fact quite cosmopolitan, and there's a big, beautiful, state-of-the-art movie studio there, and they built a jungle. They built the most
Wow.
realistic jungle you've ever seen or been in, and so much so that within a few weeks it became its own ecosystem. It became a biosphere, and the sort of the acting we were doing in the first week of pretending mosquitoes were around us. Suddenly there really were ants and mosquitoes and bugs. We were like, "What is going on?" So
Wow.
initially, there was a lot of acting going on. You'd sort of come from the craft service table and walk 15 feet, and you're by the crashed plane. But after a while, same actors, same set, it started to really feel as claustrophobic and as hot, and we got filthier,
Ooh.
and it created its own realism, its own sort of method acting.
I love that. Ooh, did you guys get all mad at each other and frustrated with each other? I know that I would if I was hot and being eaten alive by bugs. That would suck.
There were moments, but the real story of this for me is this is a totally international cast. I was the only one from North America. It's a lot of British and Irish and Spanish actors, and we so fell in love with each other early on that that's the kind of the other story. As the characters loathe each other and don't trust each other on the outside, when the bell rang at the end of the day, we were all drinking in Spanish restaurants and having a great time. So it was a really wonderful summer camp. Let's put it that way.
I love that. I can't wait to see it. But I have to ask you, if you were in a real life survival situation, what is one thing that you would absolutely have to bring with you?
A helicopter.
Oh my gosh, that's cheating. That's totally cheating, but I get it.
You said one thing. You said one thing. That's what I mean. It's like I would not survive. There's no one thing that would keep me happy or healthy. I just need a plane ticket.
Yeah. No, totally. I think I would bring like one of those Costco boxes of Quest bars or something. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to catch my own food
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Um, but you
There's a lot of that in this, which is fun.
Yeah. Yes. And Eric, you've just had and you have just such an amazing career spanning back decades. I mean, I feel like I've been watching you forever. I love Will and Grace, obviously, and I'm sure you still get recognized all the time on the street for that. But I mean, just tell me how that show changed your life.
Oh, sort of absolutely and overnight. But at the same time, I was 35 when I got it. I'd been acting professionally for almost 15 years at that point in the theater and doing a lot of guest star stuff. And so I was ready. It wasn't like I was sort of discovered at the counter at Schwab's drugstore. I was an actor. I had a long resume, but I was still unknown. And overnight back then, a must-see TV comedy like that changes everything.
Yeah. And that was the time I think when the gossip blogs were really at its peak. I mean, I just can't imagine being a well-known celebrity actor, during gosh, I think, the end of the 90s into the early 2000s. It was wild.
It was wild, but nobody had cell phones.
Yeah.
So there was still a degree of privacy. There was still a degree of you could invent who you were when you weren't on screen. And
Mm.
nowadays it's not even about paparazzi. Everyone's their own paparazzi. Everyone's constantly taking pictures of themselves all the time because you have to, because studio executives want you to have lots of followers. It's so we've become our own worst enemy, I think, in that department.
Yeah.
And I like that one of the guys I was talking to this morning on the radio said, "I realize I don't know that much about you." And I said, "That's great. I like that. You don't have to know that much about me. That's not my job.
Yep.
My job is the characters I play."
Wait, I love that. I mean, I did, it is interesting. I wanted to ask you how you have to, you deal with the paparazzi because it is horrible. I mean, it's like they out your life and then, if you're dating someone, they kind of out their life too, and they didn't really ask for that. It just is so intrusive, you know?
Exactly, and it's also um, the old expression was, today's news is tomorrow's fish and chip paper.
Yes.
It doesn't matter as much as people want to make it matter.
Mhm.
What matters to me is, are people going to get the news that there's a new series? Will they know where to find it? And will they tell their friends?
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I agree. I love the way you handle that too. And I think there's an actor recently that just said, "I don't understand. I don't even want Instagram. Why do I need to have all these followers? Why are people being cast based on how many followers they have?" I feel like that's the same for every industry. I think they think that more people will watch or something like that. But now it's like it's going back to things not even based on merit, which is just bananas. But anyway, I'm very excited to watch this show, Nine Bodies in a Mexican Morgue. So, Eric, can you tell us how we can watch it?
Yes, well, this is the other part of my job now is I have to become a spokesperson for a new streamer. It's not a new streamer. It was Epix years ago, and MGM has taken over with all of their great catalog of movies and shows. But they are creating some new shows. This one is sort of the big one for this season. MGM Plus, you have to join. I don't think it's very expensive per month. I don't actually know, but $6 or something. But
Hmm.
this show is 6 weeks every Sunday, starting next Sunday. You watch the Oscars and then tune into MGM Plus. It's an easy purchase, and don't miss out.
I love it. I get it through Amazon Prime. So if anyone's wondering, I just very easily added MGM to my Prime account. And you're right. I think it was like $5 or $6. So totally easy and everyone can watch it. And I'm very excited. It's right up my alley. So Eric McCormack, thank you so much. And I wish you the best of luck. You rock.
Thank you so much, Lauren, and enjoy the day here
Thank you.
in the Big Apple.
Bye. Okay, so that was Eric McCormack and Eric McCormick, sorry, whatever, however you pronounce it. And this is my new format, so I hope you guys like it. And if you're listening via audio, just know that you can come and you can see my mug on YouTube and you can see my cool green screen and the photos and yeah. So, I mean, this is a little more work. I will be honest, but I hope that I can keep this up and I hope that you guys all enjoyed it. So stay safe, stay vigilant, and I'll be back next. Because of that 9 line. And Ted Cruz said, look, if you're not into geopolitics, you won't notice this. I mean, hello.